Hi, this is an orientation to the California State Capitol and Swing Space, particularly for Lobby Day attendees. The hope is that you can understand what you'll see at the state capitol and the swing space about 2 blocks away. Let's first start with the state capitol. The California State Capitol is the seat of state government located in Sacramento. The building houses the chambers of the state legislature, comprised of the Assembly and the Senate. We often refer to this building as the historic side of the state capitol. The first floor holds the original offices of California's governor, actually a 3-room suite, 2 offices of the state treasurer, the attorney general, and the secretary of state. There is also a state library exhibit room and a state archives exhibit room. The Senate has 2 hearing rooms on the first floor as well, rooms 112 and 113. There is also a small meeting room. The Assembly has 2 hearing rooms on the first floor on the opposite side of the rotunda, rooms 126 and 127. There's also a small meeting room in 125. By the way, the Assembly also has 3 additional hearing rooms in the historic side of the state capitol. They're located on the fourth floor, the north side, or the L Street side. They are 437, 442, and 447. On the second floor of the state capitol are the ornate offices of the Assembly Speaker and the Senate President pro tempore. There's also the Willie L. Brown Jr. Conference Room on the Assembly side and 2 small meeting rooms on the Senate side just off the Senate chambers. Of course, on the second floor is also the entry to the chambers of the Assembly and the Senate, the formal entrances, 2 big heavy wood doors. Try not to miss seeing the grand staircases, which you can walk to the second and third floors, or of course, you can take the elevators to those floors as well. In the chambers, they're designed to look as they did more than 125 years ago, including some original desks from 1869. On the third floor of the Capitol are the galleries of the Assembly and Senate. Again, the Assembly is located on the north side of the Capitol, which is the L Street side, while the State Senate is located on the south side of the Capitol, which is the N Street side. The offices on this floor, the third floor, are also the houses of the Assembly Chief Clerk staff and the Senate Secretary staff. Those are temporary until the new annex is completed. The California State Capitol, of course, serves as both a museum but also the state's working seat of government. You should be aware that the dome contains almost 9 million pounds of cast iron. It has 108 windows and it was constructed between 1855 and 1866. The statue at the top of the dome is the Statue of Freedom. And our rotunda at the historic state capitol stands 180 feet and 3 inches in height. It's also 96 feet in diameter. Construction on our capitol was begun in 1860, and though it wasn't completed until 1874, the legislature actually began occupying the 2 chambers in 1869. So our state capitol has been the seat of state government for over 150 years now. Admission to our state capitol is naturally free of charge. You just have to enter on either the L Street or N Street sides and go through security, sort of like at the airport. It is open to the public, generally Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Now be sure to stop by Capitol Books and Gifts. It's located inside the Capitol on the lower level, which is often referred to as the Capitol basement, where you'll also find the legislative bill room, the guided tours office, a cafeteria, and some eating and meeting space, which we call the Eureka Room. Photography at the State Capitol Museum is welcome, but flash is not allowed. Now, by way of background, first capital of California was in San Jose. It served this role from 1849 to 1851, and the state's first legislature actually convened there in San Jose following the people's adoption of the 1849 Constitution. That was our first one. The second and the current one in use, although amended over 500 times, is from 1879. And the first one was adopted 1849, the year prior to California's admission to the Union in 1850. After San Jose, the capital moved to several other cities before settling in Sacramento, including Vallejo, Benicia, and temporarily in San Francisco during a flood. According to my friend Alex Vassar, a state historian and key staff member at the California State Library, check out on the second floor of the rotunda. There's a large tile mosaic on the floor, and one piece was intentionally placed backward as a reminder that nothing perfect exists on Earth. Now, the California Capitol is built in what is called the neoclassical style. It was completed between 1861 and 1874, and it's located at the west end of the Capitol Park, as well as the east end of Capitol Mall. The building was actually added to the country's National Register of Historic Places in 1973. In the Senate chamber, it seats the 40 members, and it is all in red, a reference to the British House of Lords, also the upper house of the bicameral legislature. You enter the chamber again from the second floor entrance. That's for legislators and staff. From the ceiling that you can see in the gallery on the third floor, there's an electric reproduction of the original gas chandelier that hung there. There's also Corinthian columns, and atop the dais, above the dais, is the Latin phrase Senatoris est civitatis libertatem tuari, which means it's the duty of the senator to guard the civil liberties of the Commonwealth. Also, a portrait of President George Washington is on the wall above, and the state seal hangs there as well. In the assembly chambers, it's green, and those green colors are based on those found in the British House of Commons, otherwise known as the lower house of the legislature. The dais rests along a well-shaped area, looks like an E, with the central area housing the rostrum from which the presiding officer presides over the assembly. Above it is the assembly motto in Latin, Legislatorum est justus legis condere. It is the duty of legislators to establish just laws. The Capitol Annex, which previously housed all legislator offices, 5 hearing rooms, the governor, lieutenant governor, and Department of Finance, was basically vacated in 2021. The reason being is they had to tear it down and begin the replacement of a new annex. It'll be on the same site with a slightly larger footprint. Now, demolition was delayed due to a lawsuit over its compliance with California's environmental quality impact and concerns about the trees in Capitol Park. The offices and personnel previously in the annex were moved into the newly constructed Capitol Annex Swing Space, and they anticipate the new annex to be completed by fall of 2027 for legislators, their staff, as well as the governor, lieutenant governor, and others to move in. Turning to the swing space, it's the temporary home for legislators, the governor, lieutenant governor, and some key legislative branch personnel. It's located at 1021 O Street, across the street from the California Secretary of State and the California Museum. In this swing space, the assembly has one hearing room, 1100, on the first floor. It's located on the west side, which is on the left when you enter the building through security. The Senate has 3 hearing rooms, 1200 on the first floor to the right when you walk in, and then up the stairs or the elevator, there is 2100 and 2200 on the second floor. There's also a formal press conference room located on the same side as hearing room 2100. On the third floor, you'll find a small cafeteria that unfortunately does not have seating. There are also offices for half a dozen Senate committees, the director of the Department of Finance, the Legislative Council, the Senate and Assembly Sergeants at Arms, the CHP, DGS, and several others. On floors 4 through 8, you'll find legislative offices, with most leadership on the 8th floor. The fourth and fifth floors have only assembly offices, while the seventh floor only has Senate offices. On the sixth and eighth floors, they are split, with Senate offices on the east side and assembly offices on the west side. Note that there are also a handful of committee offices in addition to the third floor, scattered on the eighth, seventh, and sixth floors. Also, the Assembly Health Committee Chair's office, meaning one legislator, is housed with the Assembly Health Committee staff in their office that's on the third floor of the Legislative Office Building, known by its acronym LOB, which is located between the Swing Space and the Capitol. Its address is 1020 N Street. And finally, in the Swing Space is the governor's office, housed on the ninth and 10th floors, and the lieutenant governor's office, located on the 8th floor of the Swing Space.